trimester. But in the interim, the district will do its due diligence, as we have been doing, to procure resources and to partner with agencies to provide devices, connectivity, childcare supervision via learning hubs. And our community focus is that there is two-way communication with our family, staff, and partners so that we can continue gather feedback and continue to revise our recovery plan. So the school improvement working group meets this next Wednesday, October 14th, to strategize how to move forward beyond just the first trimester. And then we'll continue to gather more information from parents, especially during our parent advisory committee. We have another one that is scheduled for October 15th at 6 p.m. And we know that parents are the co-educator, and we need to ensure that we have the most current information and their preference, whether they want the child to come to distance learning, to continue with distance learning from home, or to do in-person learning on our school campuses. So we just definitely encourage parents to continue to participate and entertain us, please, by completing the surveys that we send out and respond to phone calls, because things are always changing and we need to have our information updated regularly. To be encouraged though, however, don't be dismayed. Our teachers are doing whatever is possible, and they have extended themselves beyond their bandwidth to dive into new learning, to be prepared for teaching our kids through this distance learning model. They are tapped emotionally, the teachers and staff, but they're still reaching out to make sure families and students are doing well. And then our instructional leadership teams, and I'll dive into this a little bit more, have begun to analyze data systems, determine how to ensure we increase student engagement and monitor that students are learning what we are teaching them. Solomon will go into more detail, but we have been able to order, or the order of 205 new Verizon hotspots have come in, have been configured, and they started passing out those new devices. And you know, with the learning hubs, we're able to expand the amount of students. We are growing. The Boys and Girls Club has provided more pods and opened up more pods at the Castaño School this week. And so we hope to continue to increase our numbers of students who can benefit from the hubs. And then per the county superintendent, Nancy McGee, the San Mateo County Office of Ed contracting process with Curative was executed formally last week. And so all districts, including Ravenswood, will have the opportunity to piggyback on this avenue for COVID-19 testing for staff. So the regular COVID-19 testing will assist in further developing our recovery plan and to phase in-person learning when appropriate, when resources are made available per the implementation of the equity matrix. So in regards to student engagement, our distance learning goals, if you recall from previous presentations, was to ensure that we want to engage students in learning as evidenced by simply participation, for one, but also looking at what students are doing when they are participating online, whether that's a verbal response or a written response. And then obviously we want to modify our instruction based on formative assessment. So it could literally be an assessment, or it can also be information collected through Padlet so that we can figure out if what we're teaching is sticking. This is all aligned to our strategic plan, our 5-year strategic plan, where also our mission clearly states we want our students to engage critically and creatively in their own education. And then priority 1 of our strategic plan is to engage students with relevant, rigorous, and standards aligned instruction supports and materials. Under strategic priority 1 of the initiatives, 1.3, is to strengthen our multi-tiered support system process to track and measure student progress and provide interventions through collaboration and with focus on tier 3 supports for our students with special needs. And we've recently tackled this initiative under strategic priority number 1. We have 4 sites, and sites are at different stages, but we are all in the stage of having collected student engagement data. We looked at the takeaways and what the data has told us, and then ask ourselves a question: how do we know students are learning? And then how can we best leverage resources that we have to provide intervention for students and to help also reflect and improve our first direct instruction? So one of the main pieces here was when we look at engagement, evidenced by participation, we simply had to work on how to get students turn on their screens, respond, be on time to their Zoom classes, figure out how to click on the link and which link to click on to participate. That just tackles the participation. And then we're collecting data about, okay, what does the work of the students tell us? Here's some examples of what's been collected. Can I get a thumbs up or push the reaction button if you do see this chart? Thank you, trustees. Okay, so here's one site that shows that they collected data first by just seeing who was participating on a regular basis during synchronous learning and who was participating during asynchronous learning. So you can see usual, sometimes, never, rarely, right? And then if I go here, and I am going to do this. I think I can. I'm gonna do this for now and hopefully they don't kill me. I only have view only. So I'm gonna stop actually sharing because I realize it has student information. I'll go to another one. But the first graph that I showed you shows that they were just taking record of who was participating during live instruction and who was submitting the student work, okay? And so that's great and dandy, and most of the sites have already done that, but they realize more data is necessary to understand what students are learning. But I want to look at this data here too, because this shows you what strategies actually have been beneficial in having students participate more. If I increase this, hopefully I can, you will see that at the middle school, these are the type of activities students were asked to participate in. And this is the percentage of students engaged. And what we've learned just from this data point is that using the chat in Zoom only leverages about this percentage of students participating and being engaged, and teachers getting a response. So if a teacher says, you know, 2 times 8, what is the answer? And if the students put the answer in the chat, 62% of the students would respond. That's a basic example. But if you notice here, Padlet,
yeah,
a lot of students enjoy Padlet and participate. Students showing work on a whiteboard and having them actively participate using a whiteboard and flipping also is more engaging for students. Thumbs up, thumbs down. There's 4 of you, so it's easier to get your engagement, but when you have 20, you don't necessarily have full participation. So, and then verbal response seems to be okay in math, for example. In science, Nearpod seems to be successful in the science classes. So with this information, teachers can then speak with one another and collaborate and decide, okay, let's continue to use these activities as they manifest in more students participating. The other chart that I was going to show you is actually a school site who at the 5th grade level had an assignment And they measured the standard and the objective. And not only did they measure how many students actually submitted the assignment, but whether or not the quality of the work reflected that the students met the expectation of what the teacher was seeking, and also if it met the standard. And we realized like it was still half of the students not submitting the work. I believe it was about 20% of the students. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so I can refer to it. I believe it was about 20 students who it met the expectation and a lower percentage that it didn't. So that informed the teacher about how to adjust their instruction for those students who did submit the work. And now it also informs the teacher about how I can maybe, instead of submitting something electronically, I need them to submit a hard copy during material distribution and pickup. So we have some challenges, but our next steps for school sites, and these are from all the 4 school sites. One school site will review which students need intervention and identify what is that intervention based on the data set with the reading. Another school site will look at reading data to provide the best support for our students in tiered intervention and review lessons to ensure synchronous and asynchronous are aligned to standards. Staff will continue to analyze best engagement strategies, standard aligned assignments, and assignment completion. And staff will dig deeper into why as opposed to the other students and what can we do to intervene and support. Can we increase the overall number of students submitting work? We have a lot more challenges to overcome, but I think if we collect the data and use quantitative data to figure out what has, I think, encouraged more students to participate, to use those strategies that work. And then once we are able to get students to participate, we have more work product to analyze. We don't get students to participate, we're not sure if students are learning. That's the honest truth. So our goal is to increase the participation, and then we have work to analyze. Solomon.
Okay, so I'm going to talk briefly about devices and connectivity. First, can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So first, a quick update on what we've been doing in terms of hotspot handouts and connectivity. So since our last board meeting, basically the next day we started receiving the shipment of, we ordered 225 hotspots. We've now received 250 because they made a mistake. So we have actually 20 we're supposed to send back. Though I'm not sure we will, depends upon what our numbers are looking like in the next few weeks. But we have handed out 79 hotspots total. We had 19 families who we had surveyed who'd said they needed them, if you remember from last board meeting. And we had obviously about 60 more of a backlog, mostly from new families who had registered for the district since we ran out a couple weeks before. So we've handed out 79 new Wi-Fi hotspots since that board meeting. We're still handing out, a few a day, but it's really slowed to a trickle of them. It's constant. We're handing out a few a day, couple at each site, but it's definitely gotten slower. In addition, and this surprised me, we've only successfully handed out about 11 of the free Comcast Internet Essentials. We handed out more technically, but we've gotten, almost a third of them back because people had difficulty, they didn't qualify, maybe didn't have a lease. There's some more stringent qualifications for the Comcast offer. And so where that leaves us is we've handed out, since school started, 408 new hotspots total, okay? Again, just 79 since the last board meeting. And if you go to the next slide,
playing with the
Mhm.
pointer.
You can see we've handed out 907 hotspots or the 11 plus the Comcast 11 Internet Essential flyers that have been successful. So 907 connectivity solutions in total, which is not where we expected to be now. What I expected was there was a pent up demand, and I showed you a number where I expected to be closer to 1,200 because I thought there was a pent up demand. But instead, if you go to the next slide, we have about 150 hotspots now in our possession, that are spread out amongst the schools. Still, people can, receive them. We also have the 200 free Comcast internet codes free for 14 months. So we want people to take advantage of that. In addition, the 49ers Academy is working on a donation of more hotspots. So that's out there. And we'll know more about whether that's going to come to fruition by the next board meeting. And just to sort of top it off, we finally got word that the 1,100 Chromebooks, we have to replace the Chromebooks we handed out from our 3rd through 5th grade classroom. If you remember, we talked about this last year, that we handed out Chromebooks who were expiring, though Google actually extended the expiration date since all of this started. So, but we purchased 1,100 new Chromebooks, and we're finally going to get them. They've been back ordered because of what's going on out there. New York ordered like 1 million of them, and Australia ordered 3 million. So it's been tough to source Chromebooks. I thought we weren't going to get them till November, but we're going to get them on Wednesday. So very excited. So what that means is when students come back, their classrooms will be ready too, right? So we're very happy about that because that's been tough, and thank the foundation. I think they helped pull some strings there behind the scenes with the vendor. We used everyone we can, right, to get what we need for the students. So thank you, Jenna. So what I wanted to talk about on that, you stopped sharing, Gina? Was that on purpose?
Accident, hold on.
Mm-hmm. What I want to discuss is that we really have to start shifting. We're shifting our mindset from just being focused on getting resources out there, because again, the demand. Every day, we're fixing things and swapping things out. Some of the students have broken hotspots, so we're replacing them. iPads and things, X doesn't work or the battery's bulging. It's always something with technology, and that's a constant. But instead of being resource focused, we're starting to focus more on implementing better systems. It's almost like a quantity versus quality thing, right? We have to improve our systems so we can focus on getting better outcomes. And this isn't just the technology department. This is us collaborating with C&I, curriculum instruction, with student services, and with potential partners. So the first thing we need to do is improve our communication about the resources we have. We've been mostly focused on, people expressing their need. We have to be more proactive. So I think we're at the point where I and my staff can start doing that. We need to also improve our data gathering. Right now we have very much of a paper-based system, and pulling the data is very time intensive, and we've got to streamline that. We've just been so swamped. We haven't had time to re-engineer that, and that'll help us, not just through COVID, but it'll help us. Like right now, when I gather data for you, it's pretty time intensive. We need to streamline that, try to get away from paper-based things. But really, the big need out there that we're hearing from teachers and principals and families is really the real-time student-parent tech support need. That is, teachers tell us that, and just from logging into some of their Zooms, you can see that there are always a couple students who are struggling in real time, similar to some board members struggling in real time, right, with your wireless. And we're trying to figure out a solution and potentially a new partnership to address that need. So we'll be coming back to the board to talk about, what the fruition of those efforts. But we realize that that's a big need for our families, that real-time tech support, not just, right now, my staff, we do tech support ongoing every day where people come to us and we fix things. This is something different. This is, you know, there are, you know, 20 children in your Zoom and 2 of them are taking all of your time of the whole class because things aren't working for them on the spot. So we're trying to address that issue. You know, in just talking to other technology directors, local ones, you know, it's not just us having this problem, and I haven't heard a great solution. So we're trying to engineer our own solution for our own population. So we'll get back to you. We're excited about that potential partnership. Second, we have an ongoing and sort of related to the real-time tech support is just technical training for families and parents in particular, how to address that with COVID. We usually have these, you know, family institutes that the schools have, but we're not bringing people together. So we need to figure out another mechanism to do that. And again, we're reaching out to a partner to help with that because our internal staff is still, you know, overwhelmed with dealing with the day-to-day needs. And these are other needs that'll really help us get a bang for our buck for our distance learning, right? How to improve distance learning outcomes, and just addressing some of these, you know, just needs will go a long way to helping our teachers focus on teaching as they improve. So I think that's what I wanted to share with you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Solomon. Board members, do we have any comments, questions? No?
I believe we have a hand raised.
Oh, there's a hand raised.
Yeah, it's Rhonda. I'm going to promote you. Rhonda, give me a second. Okay, you should probably be able to talk now.
Hi, Rhonda White, President of Ravenswood Teachers Association. Hello, greetings to everyone. Sorry about that. I didn't realize my video wasn't on. I won't go through all the greetings and salutations, but hello, everyone. I just want to say thank you to the district and especially to Solomon and his team into looking into getting the teachers some additional tech support. We are teachers and that is our strength. And so for some of us who are highly techie, not me, we can navigate and help students while we're teaching. But for some of us who are learning all of these, it's very nice when there's someone else who can help students and families log on and troubleshoot things. So we are very excited that Solomon and his team is taking this on and looking into some additional support. So I just wanted to say thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Nice to hear. Thank you. Okay, there's nothing else. We will then go on to Proposition 15.
Yes. So as we know, Prop 15 is on the ballot for voters to consider approving. And I'm going to share my screen once again to give some context and how Prop 15 would impact the district. And let's see here. Okay. I always I'm not sure if I should do my screen or the actual document and what would pop up. So here we are. Yeah, so we just want to give you context about Prop 15 and how it might relate to the district here. So this is just a chart that shows how California currently spends less than many other states on a per pupil basis. And when adjusting the cost of living, California spends more than 12 states here. In context, you can read here, but what would Prop 15 do? And Prop 15 would change this rule for only large commercial properties and would charge those property taxes based on their market value. So it's to raise commercial property taxes. and in turn provide more funding for local government and schools. And you see the asterisks here, that it would not impact the small businesses and those that make less than 3 million. So the result of a change in the commercial property tax, additional funds would go towards local governments and schools, the school districts, and statewide, schools are expected to get $3.73 billion in additional funds because of the increased property tax, commercial property tax. If you see the calculation here, the amount of money divided by the number of schools in California, that would give you $605 per student. If you multiply that by the number of students in the district, a conservative estimate is approximately $1.2 million of additional funds for the district. And so with that information, I do know that there should be a couple of speakers who want to touch upon Prop 15. I think Rhonda would like to say a few words as how Prop 15 could impact the district.
Sorry, having a quick problem. Give me a moment. Hey, you should be able to speak now, Rhonda.
Okay, so I'm here in two roles today. CSEA are all off doing something, so Randy and Opal asked me to read a letter for them, and then I just have something very small to say. And sorry, I'm trying to do two screens at one time and I need my glasses, so let me get what I'm reading. I know everyone loves going to Disneyland, including myself, but they are a perfect example of how unfair our state property tax system has become and how Prop 15 will make it right. Many big corporations like Disney pay property taxes based on what their land was worth more than 40 years ago. In Disneyland's case, they pay taxes based on its 1975 value. What Disneyland enjoys is tax breaks and our schools are shortchanged. Disneyland ticket prices have increased 1,800%. That huge gap from Disneyland alone now costs our schools and communities about $50 million each year that the rest of us have to pay through higher taxes. Excuse me. In the last 42 years, the percentage of property taxes paid by California residents has increased from 55% to 72%. We are paying more to live in our homes and rentals while big corporations pay less and less for their warehouses and office buildings. Right now, California schools rank 39th in per pupil spending, and our schools are facing budget cuts and staff layoffs. Prop 15 will generate somewhere around $12 billion per year for K-14 and local government services by making large corporations pay their fair share through taxing commercial and industrial properties worth over $3 million based on their current market value. As president of CSEA, I am writing to personally ask you to support Proposition 15 this November because it will provide the reliable and fair funding source our students deserve without raising taxes for hardworking Californians like you or for small businesses. Prop 15 will restore, balance, and protect homeowners and renters by making corporations pay their fair share for our schools, healthcare, and essential services. When you receive your vote by mail ballot, I ask that you please fill it out and vote yes on Prop 15. In strength and in unity, Ben V., Associate President, California School Employees Association. So that is what CSEA was asking me to read. And then I would just like to say a few words as the president of RTA in support of 14. And it's very simple because I think that letter said it best. And it just says, why do we need to find more money for education, for our schools, for resources, for things that we need? We have it right here. Homeowners already pay their fair share. Now it's time for big businesses to pay their fair share. Ravenswood City School District is estimated, depending on who you talk to, between 1.2 to about 1.5 million in new money every year. So why wouldn't we? Why don't we vote yes on Prop 15? Thank you.
Okay, Gina,
Yes,
is that the end of the
yes,
presentation?
it is.
Oh, okay. Okay, so, oops, sorry. Is this?
There
on
was,
action?
there was no action. It's a report. The district can't take any political stance.
Right.
CSCA, RTA can, and board trustees can collectively.
Yeah,
And that's in regards to whether there's direction to pursue resolution for Prop 15. I think Rhonda still has comments.
yes,
Apologize. Just one last one. And so both CSEA and RTA would hope that the district would be entertaining to do a resolution in support of Prop 15. So we are excited about that possibility and hope that the district is looking in, not that the board is looking into it and would consider a resolution for Proposition 15 in support of it.
okay. Okay, so then, with that said, I will, take it to the board. I'll hear comments from board members. Don't all jump in at once.
I mean, I think the information speaks for itself, so I'm in support of it.
Okay. Go ahead, Tam, you have?
But yeah, through the chair, thank you, trustee. I was gonna say, thanks, superintendent, for presenting this information, and Ms. White for presenting or reading that letter as well, making your comments. And based on what's been presented and what I know of Prop 15, I'm for it if we did want to go ahead with a resolution or something. But yeah, that's all.
Okay. So what we would have to do is actually ask for it to be put on, that a resolution be put on the next agenda, because it has to be put on the agenda and approved. And I too support Prop 15. That was one of the biggest challenges, is the way that they're framing it on television is as if property owners are going to be taxed. And that's not true at all. It's just that, you know, this is something, a byproduct of Proposition 13 that wasn't anticipated. You know, people, it wasn't intended to help corporations keep their taxes low. So this way, you know, they can pay their fair share. So again, I need a motion then to ask that this be put on the next agenda.
I don't think it requires a motion. I think we just provide direction, and
Oh,
it sounds like there's
okay.
majority support to have this be a resolution. So I think we just organize that, Trustee Wilson, in our next meeting with the superintendent, given that it seems like all the board is supportive about moving forward with the resolution.
Okay, very good then. Thank you.
Thank you for the direction. Thank you, Ms. White.
Okay,
All right. And I believe we just have one more item.
yes,
Trustee Wilson? Yeah. And so this is presenting to you the first quarterly report on Williams uniform complaint for 2020-2021. There were no complaints that were filed with any school in the district during this period, the first quarter between July through September, regarding instructional materials, facility conditions, and teacher vacancy or missed assignments. So as you're aware, all school districts are required to adopt a complaint procedure to include complaints regarding those 3 items I just mentioned. and a notice must be posted in every classroom. And the procedures must be established where to file the complaint, who is responsible for the resolution. And so we do have those complaint forms at every school site, every office, and then it's also posted underneath the Human Resources Department. But again, I want to reiterate, there were no complaints filed between July and September, this first quarter report.
Okay, well, that's good news. Any questions or discussion? If not, we'll move on to, oh, sorry, I didn't give a chance. Anybody have their hand raised?
No hands are raised for this item.
Okay, thank you. So then we will move on to item 9, student services.
Good evening, Board of Trustees. Cindy Chen, Director of Student Services. Recently, we were approached by an online eyeglass company called Zenni, and they approached us because they are pushing out a campaign to try and provide what are called blue light blocking glasses to students. And so they would like to donate glasses, non-prescription and prescription, to all of the students in the district, which is about approximately a $35,000 donation. And so there comes in 3 different versions, and then they also engrave them for us. So on the arm of the glasses, it says #1 Ravenswood, and as well on the lens cloth.
Let me show you the one Ravenswood. Do you see it, Cindy? The one Ravenswood?
No, this is just the one with the.
Okay. I will, here it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They're of great quality. And again, Cindy jumped on this opportunity right away. So thank you, Cindy, for following up. And this company actually went over and beyond, like the quality of the lens of the frames are very nice. And then to engrave them, not just paint one Ravenswood on there, it's also good advertisement, but more importantly, because of the amount of screen time kids are on the screen, to have lens that protect them from the blue light is pretty awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, and so they would give us all non-prescription glasses and then vouchers for families who need prescription glasses.
Okay. That was actually going to be my question. How are they going to deal with the prescriptions? Anybody have any questions, any comments?
I just have comments. I use Zenni. These are Zenni's. These have the blue blocking technology. I love them. I've been having like way less headaches since I got the blue blockers.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
All my glasses are since I discovered Zenni, all my glasses are from them. So I'm really excited about this opportunity for our students to get them.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Through the chair, I just want to say Trustee Fitch sounds like a commercial for Zenni right now.
I mean, they should pay me. I always get compliments on my glasses, and I tell people where they're from, and I tell people how much I paid, and they're shocked at how cheap I'm getting my glasses for, and they look so cute. And their prescription and their blue blockers. Well, these ones are blue blockers. Since they came out with the blue blocker technology and I tried it, that's all I've gotten.
Okay.
With it.
That's hot.
Yeah, they should pay me. They should just give me free glasses because I do so much free advertising for them.
Exactly. That's hot.
Okay. So thank them for us. Yeah. Great.
I believe we want to take action to
Accept the
accept the
donation.
donation.
Yeah, no
Right.
comments. No one has their hand raised.
Okay. So then I'll entertain a motion to approve of the donation.
I'll make a motion to approve the donation.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call.
President Polito,
Aye.
Vice President Wilson,
Aye.
Trustee Fitch,
Aye.
Trustee Chabot-Maheen.
Aye.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Curriculum and instruction. So this is a public hearing on the adequacy of pupil textbooks. So I need a motion to open the public hearing.
I move to approve the public hearing.
My second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call.
President Polito,
Aye.
Vice President Wilson,
Aye.
Trustee Fitch,
Aye.
Trustee Shibomaheen.
Aye.
Okay, do we have a presentation?
I'm presenting briefly this evening, Lara Berenin, Director of Curriculum and Instruction, to say that we've completed the instructional materials inventory in the core content areas with the help of our library instructional media specialists, Rebecca Sanchez and Martha Andrade. And we have sufficient instructional materials for each site for the students enrolled. We have extra materials available if needed or if more students enroll throughout the year. And then the teachers have been working really hard to put together our core materials and supplemental instructional materials and distribute them to make them available periodically for students and families to pick up. We also include a student device in our adopted materials for grades 3 through 8 because we have some adoptions that include access to online materials. And then, as you know, on top of that, we've also provided a device to every student, TK through 2nd grade. And then we also know that hotspots are needed for many of our families to access the internet, which is really critical for distance learning. And so a few of the things I mentioned are not part of our official adoptions, but I wanted to mention them just to note how hard staff are working to make sure students and families are getting the materials that they need.
Okay, thank you. Any comments? Oh, do we have any members of the public who would like to speak on this item?
No hands are raised currently.
Okay, then I will, any board members have any questions? Then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
I move to adjourn the public hearing.
I'll second. Roll call.
President Polito,
Aye.
Vice President Wilson,
Aye.
Trustee Fitch,
Aye.
Trustee Shibomaheen.
Aye.
Okay, so great, thank you.
Thank you, Lara.
Okay, next, approval of resolution for sufficiency of textbooks or instructional materials.
So we are just approving the resolution verifying.
I was gonna say, yeah. Okay, so again, a motion is needed if there aren't any questions.
I move to approve. Is it 10B?
I'll second.
Okay, it's probably moved and seconded. Oh, Stephanie, sorry, Trustee Fitch.
Yeah, resolution 2020 to 2021-8, resolution on sufficiency of textbooks or instructional materials. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Ravenswood City School District, is that good enough? In order to comply with the requirements of Education Code Section 60119, held a public hearing on Thursday, October 8th, 2020 at 7:15 p.m. Which is on or before the 8th week of school.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. Roll call.
President Polito,
Aye.
Vice President Wilson,
Aye.
Trustee Fitch,
Aye.
Trustee Shibomaheen.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. We're moving on to the business department, facilities, Williams report.
Yes.
You're on mute, Will.
Good evening, trustees. Sorry about that. Solomon, I don't know if I have sharing access at the moment.
You should.
I should? Oh,
Yeah.
good. Awesome. We are excited to share with you the update on the Williams audit. Delma and her team have done a lot of work over the last couple of weeks in order to do a fairly robust review of each school. In the board memo last Friday, we included the results for each school. And Trustee Wilson and Polito were able to see this presentation earlier this week at our facilities subcommittee meeting. And so we apologize for them having to sort of view this information twice, but we were able to incorporate some of their feedback. We'll dive right in. There's sort of two main parts of what we're going to share tonight. The first, I'll sort of take the lead on, which is just providing a bit of context about the district's overall facilities and some of our historic investments. And the second is on the Williams data specifically, which Delma will take the lead on. So I want to just provide a bit of context here, and I know many of the folks listening tonight have probably been around for a good chunk more than this than I have, but here's sort of my understanding of some of our facilities. This is data from our 2015 facilities master plan, and I know we made significant progress since then, although I think there's still a ways to go in a lot of cases. But our buildings were mainly built in the 1950s, and a lot of the last big wave of renovation varies, but it was sort of the early 90s, early 2000s. In 2015, we identified a significant amount of facility needs at our existing schools and significant amounts of educational program needs at our schools. We've made some progress in the last couple of years in issuing bonds to address these needs, but the amount of bonds that we've issued still have left us quite a bit short, sort of the total amount that I think we need. I think this is worth keeping in mind as we think about sort of how our schools compare to some of our neighboring schools and the amount of investment I think it's going to take on a big picture macro level for us to make in our schools. And again, I think we have made a lot of progress in the last few years, and I think this board's been very supportive of that. But I just want to highlight, as we're sort of thinking about our overall buildings, there is sort of more work that needs to be done, both in sort of the small level, but also some of the big structural issues that we're seeing. You know, I think part of the reason that we have been able to invest quite as much in our schools as we'd like to is because of the way the California school funding for buildings is done. The bond money is able to be raised based on local property values, and our local property tax values are lower than a lot of our neighboring communities. If you look at San Mateo County, you can see how much bond money they've raised and expended since 1998, which is the last year we have available, or most sort of furthest back year we have available. You'll see that we're not sort of the furthest on the end here, but we're not on the high end. And if we had sort of invested, if we had been able to invest, I should say, at similar levels to some of these other districts, we probably would have spent about $55 million more over the last 20 years. I should also highlight that this bar, this graph does not include, and this is the total amount per student spent. This does not include donations from wealthy individuals or high net worth individuals who are investing in their local school. We've heard anecdotes that some of the schools, even on this high end of the bar, that have had sort of the luxury of investing significantly through taxing their local communities, have actually spent 2, sometimes even 3 times more per student through individual donations. So, you know, as we think about this and as we think about the number of reported deficiencies, and this is from last year, and I think the report this year is a bit more positive, but this is the number of deficiencies per school in the county. You know, 2 of our schools, Ravenswood Middle School and Bellhaven, which were audited last year, as Delma will explain shortly, we went out of our way not just to look at 2 schools this year, but all 4 of our schools. You know, 2 of our schools were on the left end here, but not the highest. And I think this really does reflect some of the work of Delma and her team. You know, they've taken schools that are old and relatively underinvested relative to some of the other schools in the district. And she still managed to sort of keep them in line with other sort of parts of the county, right? So while you're going to hear about some of the deficiencies tonight, I think it's worth thinking about, 1, the work that we've done over the last couple of years, particularly Delma's team. And 2, how are we really thinking about continuing to invest in our schools over the next couple of years, especially the facilities of our schools? We're excited. I think at our next board meeting, we'll share some exciting updates from RMS about how we're continuing to invest bond money there effectively. And we're excited to share some other updates as well about how we're sort of continuing to work to spend money that we've already raised to have sort of the biggest possible impact on our schools. And over the coming weeks, we're also excited to share, I think, even more news about how we're pursuing outside state grants, outside opportunities, and potentially even private philanthropy to sort of free up ways to continue to invest as much as possible in our facilities and in our students. I went through that relatively quickly. I'm aware that half the board has seen this and half the board hasn't. If there are any questions on this section, I'm happy to pause here and answer any, or we're happy to sort of turn to some of the results specifically of the Williams audit. I will turn it over to Delma then.
Okay, good evening, Board of Trustees and community of Ravenswood. Let's see. So on the slide that Will has up here, it just talks a little bit about the court case known as Williams. Happened in 2004. And basically, the real basis is that we want to assess the safety, cleanliness, and adequacy of our school facilities. Of course, there's the curriculum part of that as well, but we're going to focus on the facilities for this presentation. There's 15 categories, and the surprise visits are normally done by the county, and they are done in the first 2 weeks of school opening. And there's 3 categories that, or 3 possible ways to score on the 15 categories. And we have the okay, the deficiency, which is marked with the D, and then extreme deficiency, which I'm happy to say that we don't have any at this time. And let's see, next slide. Thank you. So this year, we tried to get as ready as we could for the Williams inspection, as we were expecting a live in-person inspection from the county. And I believe that right after that last board meeting, the county informed us that we would be responsible for doing our own, and that we should act as an agent from that would normally be doing it. So to me, that translated to be completely honest and just do the audit as they would. So talk to you about, in this slide, what we've been doing to get ready and the ongoing support that we receive from our custodians. We regularly need to have they are our eyes at the school sites, as we can't all be there all times. And some of the things they did over the summer, taking advantage of these unfortunate times, was deep clean the schools, add some paint. We strip and wax the floors and shampoo carpets so that everything's, although not in the best shape, it's very clean and shiny. We also power wash hallways and exteriors. And our HVAC units were serviced over the summer, and all the filters were replaced. We already have a contract set up so that we remain pest-free throughout the year. The pest company does a visit to each school site twice a month, and also extra visits when we do catch them. We catch them roaming around. And then, of course, our fire extinguishers are upkept annually. And some of the new things that we implemented this year was we actually performed our own mock audit to identify any deficiencies and have some time to prepare. At this time, we were still preparing for unannounced visits. And again, we just used the opportunity to correct things that we could. The simple things as, securing the shelves to the walls or the power strips to the floors, testing, making sure that although our plumbing is old, it wasn't leaking and causing water damage. We also rely on the admin team to support us in reminding, and I as well send memos to the staff to make sure that we are keeping our storage safe and not too high up where it can become an earthquake hazard or a fire hazard. So just keeping an eye on those daisy chains and providing the proper extension cords for teachers to use, because again, that's what we're here for, to support the teachers and our students. And unless there's questions next. Okay, so this slide here represents our this is a graph of the audit report. And this is for, oh, nope, wrong slide, sorry. This is the district-wide. So this is just an overall of the 4 inspections that were done. As you can see, we have a lot of green, and that is beautiful. We have some deficiencies, and you can also see the actual deficiencies on the report because the report states every single space at our campuses. We don't have any red, like I noted earlier, so that's great.
I think it's worth, if you haven't already, board members, looking through the reports that Delma produced and just really scrolling through. I don't know if you all had a chance, but when you scroll, it just goes on and on and on and on. And it really just reflects the dedication that Delma and her team have taken to inspect every single space at every single one of our schools across 15 different categories. And so all of this green, I think, really just reflects a tremendous amount of time from Delma and the custodians, the maintenance team, and just really a really deep commitment to addressing needs throughout our schools. And it really is worth, I think, just scrolling and seeing that all this green here reflects a tremendous amount of work from that team.
Thank you.
Thank you for acknowledging that, because it's great to see all the green, and there has been a lot of work done. Board members, are there any comments or questions? I did have one question though, Delma, which I just thought about it when you were making the presentation. So these things are going to be monitored on the 3 sites that we have, but do we have any responsibility to monitor our other sites?
Yes, we are obligated to do internal audits as well, although we don't report it. I use the same FIT tool, the same protocol, and same readiness and attentiveness to the sites. Even though we are required to do it, but we don't have to report it to the county.
Okay. And so we're required to make the repairs or things like that, fix the deficiencies as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, all the students are just as important.
Right, that's what I was thinking about. Well, also I was thinking about not letting our buildings deteriorate. Yeah. We have somebody using it and they're not keeping up with all the stuff, then it just ends up falling back on us ultimately. So, Trustee Polito?
Yes, thank you. I don't have anything to add, just because I was one of the board members that got to see this presentation ahead of time, and I had my asking questions, but I did just want to acknowledge the work of staff and say thank you to us. This has been an ongoing conversation, and it's clear you all put a lot of time into addressing the concern and working towards solving, whatever problems we're dealing with. Be up to date, and I'm happy to be seeking out additional funding to see how else we can help support our facilities, because we know we don't have an endless amount of money to do a lot of the work that is outstanding. So I look forward to that. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I will be happy to report back to the team all your kind comments.
Yeah, thank you. Mm-hmm. Okay.
We do have one more slide here, just to highlight some of the improvements that Delma and her team made, as well as some of the areas that I think, we're a reflective group. And I think while we're proud of the steps we made forward here, I think we also have identified some areas where we can get even better in future years. So just wanted to highlight that Delma has a little bit more to say here, I believe.
Okay, well, yeah, not much. A lot of improvements, and we will continue again keeping an eye on all of this. I think that this unfortunate situation really has helped us because we seem to be always trying to catch up and run and get ready, and then we end up not being able to do that because we're kind of on the teacher's toes, and everybody's kind of trying to do everything's a priority, right? So we did really, I think this time helped us to be able to be a little bit more, a few steps ahead. And I want to talk a little bit about the growth areas that also, being able to pursue extra funding is really going to help us out here. We were able to still witness a little bit, you know, the students aren't in the classrooms, so the classrooms look different. Teachers are set up in a way that, you know, they can connect with the students, not so much the classroom. So that was still kind of evident. And I guess when the students will come back, we will be able to set those classrooms up for in-person learning. One of the big things is ADA compliance with our faucets across our sites. At the moment, I believe most of our sinks are not ADA compliant. So that's going to be one of our focuses coming up. And also our asphalt situation, most of the sites needs a lot of improvement. And I think this is really important because we want to make sure not only the kids, but also our community is not, you know, tripping and falling in on our asphalt. And also, you know, the kids have a nice, even playground to run. And just, you know, I really believe in just, you know, little reminders. And I've asked to be able to, during our professional development days, be able to insert a little tidbit there about reminders to stay safe during the school year as well. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Delma, I just thought of something else, of course. So you were working with a group looking at the possibilities of creating outdoor classroom spaces?
Yes, that's a joint effort with Will, and he's kind of taken the lead because it's actually the San Mateo County Office of Sustainability. So it's a really
Environmental
long
Literacy and Sustainability Initiative. Yep. LC.
But yeah, also supporting as much as I can with purchasing. I think that Will was able to. Was it $20,000?
It was a very generous donation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very generous donation from REF. $20,000 for each school. And we've been working with school leaders and, as Donna mentioned, LC over at the county to think about, you know, how to do that quickly, responsibly, and also think really short term, but also, you know, how are we making big investments in our campuses long term? Sorry, Trustee, you may have had a question there. We may have answered it along the way.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Delma.
We have a speaker from the public. It's Rhonda White. You can speak.
It's real quick. Sorry, I'm trying to start my video and I can't. Black screen. It's okay. I just wanted to say thank you to Delma and the janitors and the maintenance crew. It is so nice, and I say this from the teachers, to know our rooms are cleaner than ever. There's some the filters in the heaters and air conditioners have been changed. The rooms are nice inside. They smell different. They look different, as well as there's a lot of things going on outside. And then all the wiring is being redone. So just from the teachers, we can't do what we do without CSEA. And so I just wanted to give a special shout out to Delma and her team to just say thank you. And the teachers really appreciate it, which then hopefully when we get students back, they'll be able to appreciate it and see it as well. So thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Okay. Will, are you through?
I'm through.
No, with that item. Okay. So 11B, resolution authorizing personnel to sign orders and district funds. Gina, I guess you're handling this one?
I can kick us off. I have three relatively administrative items for the board, and I apologize. I know it's getting late-ish. The first is, I believe we need to pass a resolution authorizing me as Chief Business Officer to sign checks and things like that. And then I'll talk about the second two in a moment. I don't know, Gina, if you have anything to add to that.
No, you know, when we had our interim CBO, we used our HR director and technology director. And now that we have a controller and a CBO, we are relinquishing Solomon's responsibility and actually handing it over to Will.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is a resolution. Trustee Fitch. First of all, do we have any speakers? I'm sorry. No? Trustee
No
Fitch?
speakers.
Ravenswood School District Governing Board Resolution 2020-2021-7, whereas Education Code, Education Section 42632 states, each order drawn on the funds of the school district shall be signed by at least the majority of the members of the governing board of the district or by a person or persons authorized by the governing board to sign orders in its name. Is that good enough? Or do I have to keep
Yeah.
reading?
No, that's fine. So we need a roll call. Was there a motion?
No.
Huh?
No.
Oh, so let's do that first.
To the board, I make a motion that we approve item 11B.
I'll second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. It's already been read. Let's do a roll call.
President Polito,
Aye.
Vice President Wilson,
Aye.
Trustee Fitch,
Aye.
Trustee Shabomaheen.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. The motion carries. Next, oh, that's you too, Will.
Yeah, I apologize for this one as well, and the following one. A couple months, a couple of months ago, I guess more than that now, over the summer, the board gave unanimous support for the district to pursue a waiver for the flood site. This does not commit us to anything. In fact, it does quite the opposite. It really just gives us flexibility, similar to the waiver we pursued with Brentwood, in order just to explore a number of options for the site. We continue to sort of be in active exploration to think about just what to do with both of these sites. But as part of the waiver process, we do need to show a formal resolution from the board. And out of an abundance of caution, our legal team has recommended that we don't use the May 14th unanimous vote, and we instead pass a formal resolution to give to the state. So this is really nothing new. This is just something you guys have already voted on. We're sort of simply dotting our I's and crossing our T's just to make sure we're all aligned here. That's kind of all I have, and I'm happy to not really say the same thing again. The second one's the flood site. So we do have two separate ones back to back here. That's intentional. We're trying to keep them separate. Happy to take any questions if there are any at this point.
Okay, so the question I have is, I don't see the resolutions in the board pack
I believe the resolution is attached.
to,
I'm on agenda. I'm on agenda online, and so I see it there.
oh dear. Stephanie, do you have them?
Yeah, I have it.
Okay, so why don't we just go ahead and read them?
Oh, do I need to make a
Oh,
motion?
yes, please.
I'll make a motion to approve item 11C.
I'll second.
Okay, moved and seconded for 11C.
Resolution number 2020/2021-9, resolution of the Ravenswood City School District Board of Trustees regarding intention and direction to seek a waiver from the State Board of Education relating to lease methods for surplus district real property at the James Flood Elementary School site, Menlo Park, California, whereas the Ravenswood City School District is the owner, etc.
Et cetera, yes. Okay, thank you. Roll call.
President Polito,
Aye.
Vice President Wilson,
Aye.
Trustee Fitch,
Aye.
Trustee Shabomaheen.
Aye.
Okay, great. That item passed. Next. Oh, we don't have to have a discussion. We just need to have
I have nothing more to add. I appreciate your support. And I
I move
apologize.
to approve item 11D, the resolution.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call.
Oh, should I read it?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Resolution number 2020/2021-10, resolution of the Ravenswood City School District Board of Trustees regarding intention and direction to seek a waiver from the State Board of Education relating to potential sale or lease methods for surplus district real property at the Menlo Oaks School Site, Menlo Park, California. Whereas the Ravenswood City School District, etc.
Right, thank you. Okay,
Roll call. President Polito,
Aye.
Vice President Wilson,
aye.
Trustee Fitch,
Aye.
Trustee Shabomaheen.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, next.
Thank you all. Just one last note. I should have said this earlier. The next steps here will be a set of public hearings on the 22nd, and then we will be officially submitting the waiver on the 23rd.
October 22nd, public hearing. Okay, thank you for that. All right, next, we'll move on to 12, consideration of the absence. So we do have a board member who's absent. So here's the resolution is there. So what would the board, what's the direction of the board on this one? Well, yeah.
We're just making you're entertaining a motion.
Yeah, that's what we would do.
Okay, so I will move to approve item 12A.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded. We have roll call.
President Polito,
Aye.
Vice President Wilson,
Aye.
Trustee Fitch,
Aye.
Trustee Shabomaheen.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. We move on then to policy. So board policy on COVID-19. And this is down for action as well.
I move to approve item 12B, policy regarding COVID-19 mitigation plan.
I second.
Great, it's been properly moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
President Polito,
Aye.
Vice President Wilson,
Aye.
Trustee Fitch,
Aye.
Trustee Shabomaheen.
Aye.
Okay, and then all the other revisions are for a report. So Gina, do you have a report?
I don't have a report.
Okay,
No. I'm not sure if this is up. This is just for information, so it's first reading. Can I actually have Nellie come to the panel, Solomon, to address this item?
Yeah, I just promoted Nelly. Take a second. And Nelly, you should be able to unmute now and speak.
Hello?
We can hear you.
Hi. This is the packet for the July 2020 that was revised at TSBA with all the new laws. And this is for first reading. And I sent this like a month ago just for the board to see it before I submit it because there are several policies and I sent it to cabinet. And I presented today with some changes from cabinet.
Nellie, to clarify, these have changes from cabinet. Is that what you said?
Yeah, yes, they have changes and they are tracking so you can see which are the changes.
So there's track changes on there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and all these needs to be approved because they're about the new law, especially with the COVID.
Yeah.
So this is just for first reading.
Okay, and we can use that policy guide sheet. I'm really glad that that's in there because it's very helpful.
Yeah, because that one, that should just tell you exactly what kind of changes and why, what was the reason.
Right,
And the new policies also specified there.
right. That was very helpful. Okay. So this is just being submitted to give us information. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, next, board reports. Board members, anything to report out?
Through the chair, I wanted to report that Trustee Wilson and myself met with the city of East Palo Alto, along with Superintendent Sudaria, to discuss kind of what efforts the city has in place in order to mitigate the impact and the spread of COVID-19 so that we're in a position to return to school in the foreseeable future. And they kindly shared their efforts, and actually they have an extensive plan that they put together as to what they're doing. And, you know, I'll let Trustee Wilson talk more details if she'd like to share about what, but one of the outcomes of it is that they actually are going to be launching a campaign, a community campaign, with banners and media and other tools that will allow to get the word out about remembering to follow the guidelines so that we can work together as a community. We offer to use so they can use our facilities to, you know, hang any kind of information I think is that they would think is useful to our community. And we have some follow up with them. We strategize some ideas of how to get, because they have a lot of informational materials that they have for the community. And so we're going to partner and figure out how to distribute them in collaboration with them so that we can have this be a joint effort. I don't know, Trustee Wilson, if you want to add to kind of those efforts, because you kind of had more conversation with them about that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was a very productive meeting. It got a lot of information from them. One of the things that I wanted to share was that on, I think it was October 2nd, the state ordered that through the state order was that counties cannot open unless they're at a certain level. And in this county, we're the community that has all the high numbers. Well, we're among the communities, there's a couple of us. And so because of that, they are going to focus a lot of attention to East Palo Alto. So there'll be some increased testing. They have, which I was very happy to hear about the protocols that they have in place for, and they're collecting a lot of data. And they have protocols for when they identify clusters, because that's what's happening around the community. There are clusters of positivities. And so they describe they have what's called a strike team that they work with the county, and they'll go into the building and go from apartment to apartment, offering to test people, also sharing information about what they need to do to protect themselves and their neighbors and stuff. They said that when they find cases where it's one person that's positive, but everybody else is negative, that they'll put them up in a hotel, they'll feed them, they'll give them some money to kind of live off of, so, you know, so that they don't spread the virus. So as Trustee Polito mentioned, oh, this was the other thing. As of Friday, which is tomorrow, they're opening up our playgrounds and bathrooms, yes, in the city parks. Yeah. The staff is a little apprehensive about it, but that was a decision that was made. One of the things is that, you know, we know why the positivity rate is high in this community. You know, we have the essential workers. They gave us some data about, you know, the percentages and things like that. But overall, I think generally there's a commitment to work together to educate the community. Oh, one of the things is that the city wants to ask for a set of contact traces that are dedicated just to East Palo Alto. because, and that are actually from East Palo Alto, because they find that, especially for people that are speaking a different language, it's better to have a native speaker than somebody that learned how to speak Spanish, for example. So they're looking at finding ways to bring in more local people. So if we know anybody who might be interested in becoming a contact tracer, guess you can funnel the information to Gina and we can send it over to the city. So there's going to be some follow-up, and I mean, I left the meeting feeling a lot more comfortable than I was when I went in, because I was really anxious and apprehensive about the conditions. So I'm glad that we had the meeting. Gina, do you have anything to add?
No, I'm just really encouraged by the partnership, and then also how we might get additional support from the city to test staff and students as well, and collaborating during the times where we distribute food so that we can capitalize when we have parents and families coming through.
Right, I think they're bringing a new testing so that we can test the kids. Yeah, because the other test that they gave, the Verily test, they didn't test kids. So now we have another one. So it's good. Like I said, I feel like they're, combining all efforts, and everybody's realizing the seriousness of the issue here. So, okay, anybody else have a report? No? Okay. So then if there is our next meeting will be October 22nd. And if there isn't anything else, then at, what time is it? 8:28, we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you all.
Thank you, trustees.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cabinet.
Good night, everyone. Stay safe.
Thank you too.
Gracias,
Bye.
Cartas.
Thank you, David.